Yes, hello and welcome very much to a new SSCHNITTLABOR soundcheck video.
3, 2, 1. SSCHNITTLABOR International Review.
Today I'm planning something very interesting, which I have in mind since a very long time. I want to introduce you to this very interesting Cordoba Guitalele. Once there was already a video, you find a link up here, where I was comparing the sound of different guitars and Western guitars and guitaleles. But what's really interesting about this specific instrument is the size. It's actually really small comparing to a regular classical guitar. This throat up here, it's actually quite wide. It's very close to a classical guitar. This is very unusual about this specific guitarlele because usually it's much smaller. It is even a little bit more wide than the classical Western guitar. So this instrument is very comfortable to play. It's very small and transportable. And second, this version actually is called Cordoba Mini O-CE. It has some more specifics. So one of them is you can play them with the standard strings that it comes with, which is then equal to an A tuning. So the lowest string, it's not an E, it's an A string then. And because the instrument is so small, it is actually quite common to use this higher tuning for such a short instruments. But this Mini O-CE comes as an alternative also with a different set of strings, where you can really tune it down to E, same like with the classical guitar. And we want to investigate now, comparing these strings, if the sound really gets better or worse, and if it makes sense to invest into this kind of thicker, low strings. Also, this Cordoba has an internal sound pickup. So using this Zoom H6 recorder, I will record everything with the connected mid-side stereo mic, which I have connected here. At the same time also I have another cable running into the Zoom H6, so that you will be able to make a decent comparison between the external sound recorded by an external microphone and the internal sound generated by the pickup. So right now I still have the standard strings for this Guilele connected. Everything is tuned to A on 440 Hertz, which is the standard tuning. And then during this video, little by little, we will tune everything lower and lower until E, and then finally we are going to change the thicker strings and compare the sounds with each other. You find basically also warblings to all comparisons directly in the description below the video. So this is the standard A tuning. So this instrument has a very correct fret placement. It sounds very straight. Nothing to complain here. But actually my personal preference when it comes to tuning is of course the 432 Hz tuning. This is how I usually like to tune my instruments. I will give you an impression now. It sounds much warmer, of course. This is how I think a string instrument should sound like. So all the correct fret placement stays alive also here with 432 Hz. But what I like even more, and what I recently did with this instrument here, actually it could also be interesting to make a specific talk about why 432 Hz, but maybe it doesn't really make sense to put it here into this kind of SCHNITTLABOR international channel. But the way how I was tuning this Guitarlele before was not tuning it to A, but to GIS. So it's half tone lower than A. At the same time, I keep the 432 Hz tuning. So even a little bit warmer sound is being created. So GIS 432 Hz is how I usually was tuning this instrument. Example. So the advantage of this here and now, all the strings, they get a little bit more soft when there is a little less tension. And I really have the impression that this instrument doesn't lose any of its clarity. It's much more comfortable to be played. And now I want to try something extreme, which is tuning down these A strings really way down to E. This tuning would be equal to a standard guitar. I will first tune to 440 Hz, and then we will be able to find out the stark contrast comparing to those thicker E strings, which I will connect later to this instrument. And the question is it really worth changing for the different strings if you want to tune it down to E, or does it sound more or less same? So this would be then a way to transform this guilele into an equal instrument, which would equal a classical guitar. So as I said already, now we go down to E at 440 Hz. So now it's similar to a classical guitar tuning. So all those strings now, they are very soft. So still, it's still quite correct fret placement, of course, but it sounds a little bit muddy, if you will. So something is not really correct now. That's why from here this very interesting set of strings is going to pass away. This was the ones for A tuning, and now we use the black ones, which have been especially produced for the E tuning by being much thicker. So we will see this in a second. Actually, I have to save a little bit of time in between. I will just look for my drill. 1 second. Yeah, please hold on a second. Okay, sorry, now here I'm back with my Meta bow drill. Here I have a very interesting tuning tool. When I take this instrument here, I can put this on top and then modify the sound like this. But I can improve this process, of course, also by connecting this front part to my Akku drill. Company called Firestone in this case. You will also find some links in the video description. That's what the YouTubers usually say. So using this here, most probably we can kind of loosen this very fast. Yes, this was very easy. And here on the other side, there, of course, it could be very useful to have a knife or something like that. I will just show to you. So we have to kind of loosen this little plastic nail or what's inside here. 1 second, please. Can you hold on for a moment? I'll be back fast. So, well, now I will try to loosen it with this kind of screwdriver. So this we have to pull out like this, and here you see this little knot. It's like a very micro metal ring, basically. And I hope actually I will find something equal here in this package now. It's 2 different sets of 3 each. And then now we can guess which one is the right one. Yeah, they're very similar, but okay, it's still possible to distinguish them from each other. So first we take the one which is supposed to be the E string. Those other two we will just place over here for a second. So comparing these two strings with each other, so this E string up here, it's really like almost twice as fat as the ancient A string, and therefore obviously we can create a better resonance and vibration using the thicker string. So here you see this little gap inside this nail, and there you have to connect the string. And from here just push it down gently. All right. And then here on the other side, I will show you up here. Push this one through. And then we of course have to choose the different direction from loosening it before. Actually, I think the string in between, it was still too long, so I will pull it through here a little bit further first. Maybe like this, but maybe not more than that. Like that. And so forth and so forth. I won't show you all of this changing of the strings. I'll get back to you in a second. Okay, so now, meanwhile, we are approaching the three lower strings. Or basically also higher strings, like tone-wise, it's a higher string. And in these three strings, they don't have such a little metal ring which was connected to the other ancient strings before. So I already pulled out one ring from the older strings. I don't know why they didn't put this here. So I will just create a little knot, and this little metal piece I will put over this knot, and then basically it will fulfill the same function as we had with the other strings before. Okay. So actually I'm really surprised, but you better build your own judgment. Those strings, they have been put on very just recently, so they mistune themselves very fast. Usually I would need to give this a little bit more time, but we can get an impression already. So basically, those strings here, they are almost twice as fat as the ancient ones. So my idea is that the whole instrument is still very equipped with a correct fret placement, and the sound quite powerful. Very nice. So finally I'm going to tune down this one to E 432 Hertz, and then I will present this very last impression to you. Okay, so what do you think about this story? This Guitarlele tuned to E? That's very interesting actually. I'm looking forward to your comments. Thanks for your attention and see you soon.